What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. Today, I just want to come to you and say I'm happy to see African Americans and Africans making their moves and telling their own stories. I know that we have a whole bunch of acrimonious altercations happening with each other as we start to get to know each other, as we start to move into each other's spaces, as African Americans start to learn our culture. We start to learn the rich culture of Africa. And as continental Africans start to learn the rich culture that we African Americans created as we were brought over here. And I just like to reflect that, years ago, not that long, because my generation, we are so lucky to be able to see the progress, that we are seeing today. And unfortunately, the few generations before us, they weren't able to see this. All they knew was the hardship. All they knew was the pain and suffering and the fight, right? And they didn't get to reap any of the fruits of their labor. They didn't get to they didn't get to have any of the benefit of all their hard work. In my generation, we were lucky enough to see and talk to and know all the difficulties that our ancestors, that our elders went through. And we're right now witnessing the change, the world change, and how Africans, despite all the propaganda, despite all the things that we deal with, all the hate we receive, all the misinformation that we have, all the miseducation that we have, right? Despite all the things that went against us, true to our true nature, Africans are still rising, and we're connecting with each other. And yes, we're going to have problems. Yes, we're going to have misunderstandings. Yes, humans are still humans, so even though the spirit of Pan-Africanism, the spirit of black unity, it's always going to have difficulties, right? It's always going to have people who don't quite embody the total spirit of what Pan-Africanism is. We're always going to have people in our communities who don't have our best interests at heart, right? But what I'm so happy to see is that despite all of the negative things, the negative forces that try to get in our way on our path to ascension, until being the great Africans, the great people that we always knew that we are, right? I'm just happy to see that despite all of that, African Americans and continental Africans and Caribbeans and even Latino Africans, even though they're coming late to the party, Latino Africans are starting to come on board, as the age of information has given us all the opportunity to see who was lying to us, right? The age of information has given us the opportunity to see that the information that we carried our whole lives, some of that information was wrong, was incorrect. And we know who gave us the information. We know that all the divisions that we have amongst each other is due to, the powers that be that need us to be divided so that they can still take advantage of us. Also, I'm glad to see that us African Americans, continental Africans, Caribbeans, and African Latinos are dealing with our own issues we don't like to talk about. Because, African people, we kind of closed in when it comes to certain things. Even though the whole world enjoys our culture, the whole world enjoys us, right? If you look at the whole world right now, look at all the music, look at anything that's popular on the planet, it has something to do with us, right? And the whole world has been enjoying us, but we have not been enjoying us. We have not been enjoying us, but right now I see us enjoying us, right? And we're always going to have naysayers, even within our own respective communities. But that's only because they're a result, right? They're still suffering the side effects from the stress that we've been through, right? Also, we have stress that we placed upon ourselves, right? We have to also admit that we as African people, we're not this perfect, omnipotent group of people that, just get, dealt a raw deal. And, we do things to ourselves that we shouldn't do, right? We practice things we shouldn't practice, right? We believe things we shouldn't believe, right? And we still have a long way to go. But I'm just amazed in my 40 years on this earth, which is a blip in the time span of humanity, that I'm able to witness such elevation of our people since we've been dealing with such, acrimonious, such hardship in the past 500 years, which is still a blip. So my witnessing the blip within the blip of our, bad times that we having, I'm lucky enough and I feel privileged to be alive to see that we're rising. I can't wait to see what happens in 40 years. There was a time within my lifetime, where YouTube, keep in mind, YouTube is brand new still, right? And social media is brand spanking new. It's a baby. It's not even a baby, it's an infant still in the grand scheme of things. I remember when you used to type in African, all you saw, and I don't know if anybody, if you saw this, put it in the comment section. All right, I know I'm not crazy. If you saw this, put this in the comment section. I remember when you used to type in African in YouTube, all you would see is porn, monkey stereotype, typical porn, AIDS content, like the most horrible, worst things that if we're put into YouTube now, wouldn't even be allowed to be monetized, wouldn't even be allowed to be placed on there. But there was a time when YouTube was unhinged. And when it was unhinged, whoever was posting all this crap put the worst possible content they could when it comes to Africans. There was no black people telling our stories. It was only white people. We know how they are. They're gonna be who they are. We know that, right? But I'm glad that we're finally taking power into our own hands. I'm seeing all these African Americans in Africa, doing their own thing. I see all these Africans in Africa building farms, building relationships, building businesses. I'm seeing continental Africans, Nigerians, Ghanaians, Cameroonians, Ethiopians, South Africans. I'm seeing them guys go all over the world, spreading their culture all over the world, teaching African Americans, African Caribbeans, and Afro Latinos about their history. I'm seeing all these wonderful things. Now, of course, we clash because we are humans, and understand that there are human issues that sometimes some of the least educated Africans, we equate that to being African, something that's unique to Africans. But you got to remember, at the end of the day, we're humans, and humans are very fallible creatures, right? And every issue that we have within our communities, other races of people have in their communities, and we have to start keeping that start keeping that within the context of our conversations, right? We are humans, so we're gonna have pieces of shit. We're going to have great people. We're going to have naive people. We're going to have people who are susceptible to multiple religions. We're going to have cultists. We're going to have people who don't have our best interest at heart. And we're going to have people who have unapologetically love for the community. We're going to have xenophobic people. Those things will always exist because we are humans. Humans are fallible. But the overall sentiment and the way Africans are going, I'm really excited for, and I'm happy to see it. Even if I don't agree with all my Africans, I'm happy that Africans are finally saying, F it, I'm going to tell my story. I'm glad that we're not using the platforms, even though we have to use these platforms. Right now, we're still using the white man's platform. But soon enough, there's going to be a black genius that's going to make a platform that we're all going to galvanize to. YouTube is the thing we're using now. But somewhere along the line, there's going to be an African platform that we jump on. And then the rest of the world is going to jump on us. You see, Africa is the future. African people are the future. And look, in about 50 years, do you realize that 1 out of 4 people are going to be African on this planet? Think about that now. 1 in 4 people on the planet is going to be African. We are poised to take over the world. Now, what kind of world do we want that to be? And when I say take over the world, I'm talking about Europe, North America, South America, Central America, African. There's not that many Latinos. They barely even count. And a good chunk of them are African. There's not that many Europeans. White people are only 13% of the population of the planet. Do you understand that? White people, Europeans, are only 13% of the planet. The only people that we have in competition, as far as population is concerned, is Asians. And when you say Asians, that's a loose term, because do you consider an Indian and a Han Chinese person the same race of people? I don't think so, even though they've been bunched up as Asians, right? So as African people, we're about to be the biggest, largest majority on this planet. And what's going to happen, whether you guys like it or not, because these Asian countries have issues, they don't have women, right? A lot of them are starting to look towards Africa for women. I know you don't like it, but they're going to mix. But this is the thing. I'm not afraid of mixing. You know why I'm not afraid of mixing? Because they all belong to us. They're black. They're going to be black eventually. No matter how many times they mix, how many times you can't make Africa not black. It doesn't matter. It may lighten up a little bit, but eventually it comes back to black. You understand? Because we are the dominant gene. We are the originators. We are the mothers and fathers of civilization. So all our children out there who do us wrong, all our children out here that's Asians and Arabs, and they're all gonna come back. All of it's coming back. And once it comes back, and we can, we'll be unified. But first we need to unify ourselves, and we need to show the world what it is to be community. Because a lot of these other races, they don't have community. That's why they act the way they act. That's why they do the things they do. They don't have that fullness of community. That's why, if you notice, everybody galvanized towards anything black, because we have this thing that attracts them that they just can't put their finger on, and they hate us for, because they want those things that we have, right? But we need to start enjoying the things that we have. We need to start highlighting the things that we have. Continue to elevate ourselves in the media, right? We need to have our own anime where we show our different African martial arts. We need to have our own Naruto, our own Bleach, our own freaking Dragon Ball Z type of thing. We have enough history, enough lore, enough ancient, civilization we can reach in and grab out the grab bag to create these wonderful things that we can show to our children to get them motivated and get them excited about their culture, right? We can do this, and we're doing it now. And despite the haters, because there's a lot of people who are just negative. Everything's negative. They be like, oh, we'll never do this. We'll never be like that. Those people don't like us. They'll always be there. But they're always a minority. And we don't need everybody on the front lines. We don't need everybody to be warriors. We just need enough warriors. We just need enough people on the front lines to get the job done. And the people behind us, the negative naysayers, they'll come around. That's how it works. So let's not focus on the negative. Let's focus on the positive. Let's keep pushing ourselves forward. Let's keep getting to know each other once again. And remember, one thing about culture is culture always changes, right? So let's not get too stuck on the cultures of the past. Let's learn about them. Let's understand them, right? Let's teach our children about them. But understand, a new culture is coming. We have the power to create the new culture that defines us as African people, right? And we have to understand that. The future African culture is much different from anything else that we know in the past. But we have the power to build that culture, to create that culture, to develop that culture, to define what that culture is. We have the ability to define what humanity is, because we'll be the majority on this planet. That means we'll be taking over all the scientists, the space programs, the science programs, the freaking archaeological programs, the history programs. We're taking over everything. And that's just what nature has decided. We didn't decide it. That's what nature has decided. So what we're going to do is we're going to be responsible human beings. We're going to be the people that we want the rest of the world to be. We're going to be an example for the rest of the world. And we're going to evolve as human beings, because we must evolve out of war, evolve out of hate, evolve into one group of human beings that strive to reach to the stars. That's who we are. All right. And so I'm just happy to see where we're going as a group of people, and I like to see the progress compound the way technology is compounding, meaning it doubles the speed of our progress. We need to start doubling the speed of our progress, as we are already doing right now. Right. Anyway, I'm just proud of us black people right now, where we are, despite all the crap we got going on. For all the crap we got going on, there's a lot of good that doesn't get talked about, because good stuff is not entertaining. Sometimes good stuff is very boring. As human beings, we like action, we like drama, we like violence, we like to watch that type of stuff. So those are the things that get the most views. But behind all that entertainment, behind all that stuff in the real world, there's a lot of good things happening with us black people. So I just want to say I'm proud of us, all Africans. I'm proud of every African on the continent that's being involved in the change, that's being involved in telling their own stories. I'm proud of every African in the diaspora that's being involved in change and being involved in telling our own stories, because we have to do that. Because history is our history, and we need to start telling our own history and not listening to that false, fabricated, fantastic, fictitious history that those new people created. Anyway, that's all I got to say. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn some, teach some. I'm out.